You're listening to Africa's #1 lifestyle online radio.
And so today, our topic of discuss is preventing domestic accidents. Yes, we have seen several things happen over time. Some of us have even experienced them firsthand. We've seen them happen. Even as children growing up, you would see one or two things happen and you're like, oh, this is actually a domestic accident. For example, growing up, I have this cousin of mine, and she, to today, she still has the marks from the stuff that happened. And what happened was, a table fan was bad. Then it was fixed, supposedly by people who fix stuffs. My cousin was sitting just right underneath the table, like her cheeks, her head was underneath the table. And could you believe that the drops, like the fan started melting, and the drops from like the melted plastic from the fan started dropping on her face, on her body. And I can tell you that till today, she still carries that scar. So, domestic accidents are serious. They are very serious, and that's the reason why we will be talking about them today. So, Mrs. Shay, good to have you in the studio.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for reaching out.
I am glad to have you.
Nice to be here too. Thank you so much.
Hope it wasn't a hassle getting to the studio.
No, not at all. I was so direct.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That's good.
All right, so how is the family? I need to just,
Very, very fine. Thank you.
That's really
Everyone
good.
is fine. We are doing it,
Alright.
parenting intentionally. Like I wrote on my shirt, nothing happens in life by default. You have to be intentional about it, including parenting. So we're good. We're
Amazing.
fine. Thank you.
Amazing. So straight up to what we have to discuss today. What are domestic accidents?
Domestic accident is an accident that takes place at home or its immediate environment. It could be in the sitting room, in the bedroom, in the compound, anywhere related to the home.
To the home.
As long as it's not outside, it's not on the road, it's during sports, it's not in school.
Okay.
If it's at home and its environment, it's domestic violence.
Domestic
Oh,
accidents.
sorry, domestic accident. We're so
Yeah, I
used to
know.
violence,
We are used to violence every
abuse.
time.
It's domestic accident.
All right. So basically, I know there will be some types of accidents
Yes, we have it.
and prevention. So basically, what are the types?
We have like fire accidents, electrical accidents, medicine, cooking and eat, and so many. That's just a few of what can happen at home.
Yeah, just like the one I mentioned, that one is all the electrical.
Electrical domestic accidents.
Accidents. Wow. So now, how can this accidents be prevented? I think this is where the discourse
Okay, before I talk about prevention, I want to give some examples. I think I mentioned it to you earlier. I remember my sister-in-law told us about a story about my nephew.
Okay.
My nephew was taken to, my sister-in-law took her son to her parents-in-law's house.
Okay.
And because she understands, you know your child, every mother knows a particular, and it was like, out of the three of them, just please, I'm going out, what about this particular one? It's like, I raised your husband, what are you trying to tell me? Please be going to where you are going and let me rest. And she said on getting back, she noticed that everybody was sober and she was wondering what happened. My beloved nephew had just drank a full bottle of liquid soap. You know all this liquid soap that comes in orange, in green,
different colors,
in purple, in appealing colors to children. So she had just taken some part of a bottle, and they will try to do all they can do. But thank God he's still jumping around today. So that's one example. I went to visit a friend, and we visited a friend, and we heard that last week she accidentally poured hot water on her son, and I was seeing the video of how the boy was screaming when he was taken to the hospital. He said the first thing the doctor said was, "Who did this?" And she had to take responsibility. That I did. The mother-in-law screamed on her mother screamed on her, but it's an accident. It can happen to anybody anywhere. And
it can.
I have someone who also gave a testimony of how a child fell in the bathroom. The child is always playful, active. You know, when you have an active child, everything is play. Even when they are eating, they are playing. When they are sleeping, even in their sleep, you just see them laughing to everything is defined as play. So maybe this boy was just like a 8-year-old, 9-year-old, if I can remember. And funnily enough, this child didn't tell the mother until the pain started coming. And that was the testimony, actually, until the pain. So imagine this child keeping pain
to himself
for a long time. Now I'm remembering another story about a family friend that I remember my mom telling us that the particular friend of mine, we're family friend, that girl is their first child, that their first child had actually passed on because maybe at age 1 or so, the nanny made the boy to fall down, and she never told them.
Oh no!
Until the boy developed an emergency, and that was the end of the child. I'm talking about like 30-something years ago, or almost 40 years now.
Now imagine keeping such to yourself.
Yes.
I mean, the first thing that should come to the mind is oftentimes you don't get to see some injuries outside.
Yeah.
So internal bleeding, internal injuries.
For a 1-year-old child. And that's how the child passed on.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, so many things.
So many
happening.
I'm sure if we ask our viewers, our listeners, they have a lot to say about one example or the other, the one they experienced themselves, the stories they've heard, and so many emotional things attached to domestic accidents.
Wow. Well, I think that's one of the reasons why we're talking about it, to bring to people's consciousness. Because you find, it happens. So people say it's normal.
It's normal. Yeah,
it's normal. But then consciousness, being conscious.
And that would take me to the research I made. It's been proven to be one of the causes of it's been proven to be one of the 4 major causes of death in the world. Domestic accident has been proven to be one of the 4 major causes of death at home. And the funny thing about it is, it's not harmful. It's not caused by harmful implements, harmful substances. Exactly.
Spoons.
It's like your teeth.
Yeah.
Imagine biting yourself in a way that's
when you
your
know
teeth
that
is not harmful. It's one of the things that aids digestions. It's there, it's subtle, but when you bite yourself, I'm sure you know
you actually feel it.
Exactly.
And sometimes you even have sore for days.
Exactly. So can we say that's a form of domestic accident?
We can't even say it.
Yeah, sore for days. So it's just like that. So it's not caused by harmful. So it's not like a parent will be looking for, this is tag harmful. It's caused by different day-to-day what the children normal things
that they see, it's part they of use, they interact
Imagine
with.
Soap, liquid soap. Imagine hot water. Maybe my friend was even going to have his bath for him. But the children
always running around.
Exactly, running around and all that.
I mean, in my family, we are adults now. Even at that, if anyone is carrying anything hot, there is an announcement. Incoming. Like, incoming hot. Everybody just goes out of the way because they know that whatever is coming is definitely dangerous.
Yes.
And I think the incident that happened to my cousin really opened her eyes to a lot of things. To a whole lot of things. Over to you.
Okay, I want to just list out some preventive measures we can take at home to avoid domestic accident. You know, the topic is preventing domestic. So number one, I said family members should be given proper orientation about safety rules. Like you said, in your family, incoming, maybe you're carrying hot water, you're carrying fire. Thank God we don't use children nowadays. They don't know what lantern is.
Yeah.
You know, lantern can be very, very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
When I say lantern, I'm sure you're wondering what it is. It's one metallic object with one glass like that.
Yeah.
Then you have to put kerosene inside, open it up. Then as in different, I don't even know how to explain it. That's what lantern is. And it could be, imagine you putting your lap, maybe you're wearing knicker or something, putting your lap on hot lantern. Your leg will never remain the same. So we should be able to orientate the child as an age appropriate orientation to every child. Like if you have babies, let them know no, you know, you shout it. When you say no, they know what they are holding, what they are doing is dangerous to them. You don't try to pretend around it. Let there be hot water alerts when somebody's carrying hot water. I learned that during this, my friends, incident. Let them know, like you said in your own family too. Hot water alert, hot water alert. I'm sure everybody they will run
just
and they will
run.
know that yes, something dangerous is
coming.
Sharp objects, no. Let the child know that playing with sharp objects, when they see scissors, when they see pin, you know, child, they learn from everything.
Indeed, they do.
They try to touch and feel, especially when you have, you know, that's what Montessori is teaching children. You have to touch. You don't just teach them to cram. They have to touch and feel it. When they can touch and feel it, that's when learning comes. So when they see pin, when they see sharp objects, they want to touch and feel it with their innocence. They just want to know what happens.
What happens when? I think I can relate to that, because growing up, my mom used to do something to my younger siblings while they're growing up, and they see fire. Fire is let him touch it once, then he would know that this
fire
thing
is just like a bubble, an orange bubble, and they want to know what it is. So
after once or twice, I think my siblings just start shouting Jojo.
Exactly.
Jojo, like it's hot.
You don't even need to tell them it's hot. They know. So you don't need to experiment with your child. Just let them know that. I also have a sewing machine. You know, I run a store, Mom for a store. I have a sewing machine at home. I remember when my first child was very little. Anytime I'm trying to make something, he's always disturbing me.
Wow.
Leave here. You won't hear. Until one day I ran the needle over him. Not, as in, maybe intentional or not intentional. That was the last time
you ever went there.
Exactly. So he knew that it's dangerous. I didn't run it in a way that it would cause an accident.
Yes, just for him to
feel it. And I'm sure that's what Mom was doing. Your mom was trying to say, let him put his hand on it. He will get it. But we don't need to wait until that time. Thank God for YouTubes. We can play videos. Let them know. Let them be orientated that this thing. I don't know if you saw it. I saw it on someone's social media status, and the cat wanted to throw something on the floor, and he was doing something on his lap. He just made a sign, and he was carrying a teddy bear beside it, and put the object and was showing the cat that a teddy bear, and say, if this thing should fall down, I will spank. The cat itself had to move that thing to the back, having understood the consequence. So we can play videos. There's nothing you're going to look for on YouTube that you won't see. So that's, you don't need to experiment with your child. Let them know that this thing is dangerous. No jumping, like rules like no playing with sharp objects, no jumping or running on wet floors.
Oh, that one is quite common.
I don't know.
It's slippery and nice.
If you see children nowadays, if you say, can you please help me get, they don't walk again. They run like you'll be wondering what's going on. Walk. Okay, so let them know that, okay, in as much as you want to run, in as much as you want to fly, in as much as you want to play, not on wet floor. Let them see the consequence. You can fall down and you can injure your spinal cord, and you'll
On
be
your
on
head.
wheelchair for life.
On your head, in
Or
fact.
you hit your head, and anything can happen. Imagine
Indeed.
a child that's been walking and constrained on wheelchair. They'll say, really? Give them examples. Let them know that
understand.
this and this is a consequence. There's always, in my house, that's a standard rule.
Wow.
There's always a consequence for everything, either good or bad. There's always a consequence for everything. So
that's good.
pass the message across to the child.
So I still have Mrs. Shea with me in the studio. So the second point you have to talk about.
Okay, the second point is what I love so much, as in one of the words, and it says be intentional about controlling what you can control. You know, you be intentional. You have to be. The opposite of accident is intentionality.
Basically.
So you should be intentional about controlling what you can control. There's a quote I love so much that says everything for its place, a place for everything. As a mother, as a father, as a parent, you have to be intentional about putting the knife in its right place, putting the blade, after using a blade, in the right place, making sure that your electronic appliances are well done, naked wires are covered up, and everything is okay. If you can do what you can do, then leave the rest for God. So you have to be intentional about controlling. Don't be, I don't want to use the word careless. I want to say don't be unintentional. What will be. Then
Like if anything happens,
Exactly.
it's because it wants to happen.
So
I
don't
couldn't have done better.
that's why I said, you know, that we know there are some things we cannot control.
Indeed.
But don't put medication after giving them paracetamol in the morning. Don't just drop it on the dining table. The child don't want to. We talked about touch and feel. The child don't want to see what, especially vitamin C. They want to take more Hemel and all that. So they may think the paracetamol is vitamin C, especially when they are the same brand. And let me quickly take a sip before mommy comes. Or a younger child can just take it and put it in. You know, children and connect
They're
it to their
very
mouth.
inquisitive and wanted to put everything, especially the little one, the toddlers, everything in their mouths.
Don't put detergent in the wrong place. Just because you use it to wash the car in the morning, you mistakenly dumped it in the kitchen. It looks like milk. Every child wants to see what is there. Don't mistakenly put what is not supposed to. Let everything have a place and label it in a way that they will know. Liquid soap, I'm not talking about the known brand. All those ones we use,
The local ones.
they look and smell nice, and you want to just have a taste of it.
Yeah.
So-
I think I've heard it once. My sister was just telling me that there was this particular liquid soap that she really loved the smell, and she could almost feel
Even
like
as an
taking
adult.
it as an adult. So I was like, imagine this was a child. You'd have even taken it before saying anything about it.
Try to control. If you have edges, I think we bought some things that you can stick on the edges of your cabinet, of your center tables. If you need to take off the glass center table until the child is old, or until your children are old enough, you don't need to put them there, because glass center table in a home of a 4-month-old baby, a crawling child, is dangerous.
Very dangerous, actually.
So you can just put them away. There's a season for everything. Just make sure that you keep, you know, that everything you know that you can control. You know, I want to put this, you know, the Bible says, after doing everything, stand. Just make sure that you do everything you know that you can control. Then you know that, yes, I've done my parts.
Indeed.
I know that my house is fine. Don't mistakenly drop something somewhere. Or
And then you forget
pin.
it.
Like mothers, I wore a clothes, I use pin to hold something. And when I was removing it, as you were removing it, be intentional.
Just remove
and put
the
the pin
in the right place. I think I can agree with that.
Your chain, when you are removing it, put it in the right place. The child can play with it and choke.
And can even, some of them might
Can
even want
swallow
to
it.
swallow
Earrings.
it.
earrings. Yesterday I used to skip like every day, but I dropped it in my room. My children came in. Thank God I was there. I was doing something in the room, and
They
the
tried to
younger
skip.
one, the other one was trying to skip. They were fighting, and the younger one, one was holding it at one end. The
And the
younger
other
one was now
Oh wow.
twisting it up. I just hello, as we said, all those things are not harmful. They are our regular day-to-day tools. But the child I just collected it from him and said, drop it. His mommy's skipping rope. Imagine I wasn't there and
it goes ahead to twist it.
round his neck, or he was even doing it round his body, and he was having fun. The other one was holding it. I don't know the fun in you rolling around, and
They are the ones who understand better.
so you have to just put everything in its place. Don't say because I was too tired I dropped my Illy shoes. I just put it somewhere. My child is running. Like we said, ran over the heels. Imagine running over 6 inches heels. And we know how our heels can be.
And some children would even want to try to wear it when they see them. That okay, our mommy wears this shoe. Let me wear it, and they fall or something happens.
Swallow stoned earrings. I'm sure you've heard, or put it into their ears
Or noses.
as in into their nose, and you get to the hospital and doctors will now look stupid. Doctors will now be asking, you say, is it not my earring? Why is it, you understand? So that thing can be very, very dangerous. So try as much as possible to control what you can control, and make sure that your place you put everything in its place.
In the right place, basically.
And
I
let
think
the child knows too, especially as they're growing older. Let them know that you just don't dump.
things.
Don't just
put them in the right
put
place.
them. You just finish sharpening your pencil. Put them in the right place.
I was just about to say that I think even some adults have they get so like I'm staying alone, so I can drop this here, I can drop this here, I can just drop it wherever I want to drop it. But then you get used to it over time, and then when
it becomes an
the kids
habit.
come, it becomes a problem for you even as a parent.
And it can
to
even be
continue.
dangerous to you.
Of course,
Who knows?
it can.
You can just
It can.
assume maybe that now we have NEPA inverter generator. It could just be in between when there's no NEPA, when there's no inverter, when there's no generator, and you just hit your hand on maybe your
On
nail.
something,
or
anything could actually
Anything
happen.
could happen. And you're the only one at home, bleeding like 12 a.m. or so. Maybe you're trying to look for your glasses, and you're trying to look for something, and you're down. I know it doesn't happen often now because there's always lights, but then that you're looking for something, you're trying to damp your hand, trying
Around
to feel
to
what,
look for.
and just imagine putting your hand on a sharp knife, on a sharp blade.
Object. It could be a
Maybe you
blade.
just use that blade to sharpen your high pencil, and you didn't cover it up. Just imagine. So it's not about, domestic accident doesn't happen to children only.
It also happen to
you, and this is why you
adults.
need to put everything in its place.
That's key. That's very, very important. So basically, going back to talking about children, what are the safety measures that parents can actually put in place when they are not around to prevent accidents? It's a different ballgame when you're around. Like the one you said just now,
Yes,
you were
this
around,
skipping rope
you were
part.
able to avert any danger that could arise
Yeah.
from that. What if you were not around?
Okay, I would say that you should set age-appropriate boundaries. We spoke about setting rules.
Of course.
Yes, apart from setting rules, there should be boundaries. When I'm not around, you don't go into daddy and mommy's room. So that's one of the rules, that boundaries. This is your room, that is your like a safe place in quotes. That I know that I've been able to make sure, I've been able to prevent everything. Your room is your place. If you're not in your room, you're in your toy room. And the toy room too, we have a rule to that. When you finish playing, you pack your toys. That's a rule, because you may not pack your toys, and you just, maybe there's no light, you want
And you
to
just quickly open the door.
all these
you
Legos.
sleep.
Legos.
I've fallen over one before, so I can say how it
is
is.
one of the most dangerous toys that I've ever seen. So make sure that you tidy up your place. Set age appropriate rules. The song clean up, everybody, let's clean up. Let them know that there's a reason for cleaning up. After playing with toys, let them know that when mommy and daddy are not around, when my parents are not around, I don't go into the kitchen. I don't put on the cooking gas.
I don't go near those
I don't go there and those things. Even if they need to eat, make food available so that they don't need to warm, like bread. Bread and margarine, bread and butter, bread and jam, something they can pick themselves. And
it's already made.
Exactly.
It's not like they need to go
so you don't need to go into the kitchen.
That's
if you need water, set age appropriate boundaries. So when mama and daddies are not around, we don't go into their rooms, we don't go into the kitchen, we don't go outside, we don't play outside. Whenever we want to play, we play with our toys indoors. We don't, by the time they are going outside, something can happen outside.
Yeah.
So they know that we don't go outside. We don't go outside to play with this. We don't go outside to play with that. This is where we stay. And, you can talk to any child, even when they are 1 month. Children understand, like what we've learned over time. And it's been confirmed. They learn right from when they're in the womb.
Wow.
You can talk to your child. Children are like they say, children are like sponge. It's what you put inside, our computer language, garbage in, garbage out. It's what you put inside. So if they have those, you're not starting to set boundaries at age 10, and they will ask you, Mommy, why?
Why?
Mommy, why? If you start early, I said something about intentional parenting.
Yeah.
If you start early, and you don't say, my child, don't play. If you're telling them not to play, you have to give them something back. You can't say, don't play with this. A child can, I'm sure even you will pray that God may I not have a child that will just sit still and be looking.
Of course.
Exactly. When they are not playing, they know they need to read a book. If they are not reading a book, they know they need to arrange the Lego in a particular shape. Give them something to do. That's part of setting boundaries. And idle hand is a devil workshop.
Indeed.
That's what we've learned. So when they don't have something to do, and please don't babysit them with screen. Let them do creative things. It is when they are with screen, they want to change channels, they want to do. We can have electrical accidents.
That's true. That's very
so
true.
Let them know that they can do any other thing. They can play. They can tell each other stories. It could be write a story before I return. That's why I said age appropriate. Write a story before I return. Mommy would like to read your storybook. Let's make journal. You won't just start it for a 6-year-old that's not been writing since 3-year-old. That's where intentional parenting comes in. So that's why you need to set age appropriate consequence and boundaries. And when you disobey rules, there's a consequence.
Of course.
Let them know that there is a consequence for stepping over this boundary.
So if you do this
is a consequence. Like my house, if you don't pack your toys, you won't go to your toy room for the next 5 days.
They will pack it.
So after using the toys, they'll pack it.
Yeah,
so if you go to the
good.
kitchen when mom is not around, there is no snacks for the next 5 days. They know that kitchen is a no-no area. So children understand communication this way.
Wow.
Spell it out right, well, in an understandable manner, and they will follow you. Children are not difficult, but if you leave them and now trying to trace yourself, that's when it becomes difficult to parent.
Okay, this one is off the book, but I just thought of this. So in a case of a mother and a father that they are not always around, available to take care of the children, I mean, right from even when they were little, they are not always around to do that. How do they go ahead to incorporate all these things into the child?
Okay. There's something called family values.
Okay.
Family missions, family goals, family dreams. I'm sure they have somebody in their house helping them to take care of the child that should understand their family values.
Okay.
It's the family values that define the kind of school I take my children.
Okay.
It's the family values that define the kind of friends around them.
Okay.
It's the family values that determines the kind of church
that they would attend.
That I attend and that will attend together as families.
Okay.
It's the family values that determine the kind of cartoon, the kind of music, the kind of home I'm running. So
Okay.
if you have family values as husband and wife,
Mm-hmm.
and you try to let whoever is helping you to take care of this child or those children to understand your family values. You know, in organizations we have mission and vision statements.
Yes.
But at home, most of the time, it's just where he leads me, I go. We just parents like, okay, as it comes, which is this is what causes accidents. I thought about it, raising raising children in an abusive manner. It's a form of domestic violence. The Bible says children are gifts. Children are heritage. They are God's gift language. So if you raise them in a way that they are being abusive at the end of the day, that's a form of domestic violence that we can't see. It's a mental violence. It happens at home.
Yeah, any small thing you are beating the child. Any small thing.
You see the way the child relates. There's something I used to tell my older son. I would say, you know your mommy. You know, there was a day he was now telling his younger brother that you know what I would do. I was just laughing at my corner. I said, you know me.
Of course, they pick what they hear and what they see.
So we have to be intentional about our family values, our family goals. If I ask you now that, I'm not talking to you directly, that what is your family values? What is your family goal? What is your family dream? As much as organizations that have where they are heading to will script it out, you should also be able to script it out. From my profile you read, you notice I wrote, she's blessed with great nations, because that's part of our family values. We know that we are raising nations. Not just an individual. So the way I'm raising nation will be different from the way I would just raise anybody. So that's part of being intentional. Is intentionality. There's some I think the proprietress of my children was telling me that, let me just digress with this. Moses, baby Moses, God knows that he needs to stay in the palace to be safe.
Of course.
But he doesn't need the teaching of Pharaoh's daughter
at all
to achieve this goal. So there's a place of an Hebrew mother to tutor him. So a Moses cannot just be raised in the palace. He needed an Hebrew mother to fulfill the assignment. So have that goal. Even when you are away, raising children intentionally doesn't mean they behave right when you are there.
Yeah, that's true.
Let me use the word install. That's what we're used to. You know, when you install an app on a phone, it works. Even when you are not the one holding the phone. If you say, please help me transfer money. This is my password. It still works.
Yes.
So installing these values into the lives of our children, that's what intentional parenting is.
Wow.
And either you're there or you're not. Either you're watching or you're not. They still carry out these values as much as you want. So that's the way to protect your home, prevent accidents, prevent anything, even when you're not there.